They don't pay us to think. They pay us to know. We know we can beat them. There's no excuses why we shouldn't win the game. Period. W's on 3, man. Let's go. W on 3. 1, 2, 3. W.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sister. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report, week number 7 edition. And folks, it's Dallas week. I don't have to say anything else. That speaks for itself. It speaks volumes without having to say much. All I have to say is 3 words. It's Dallas week. And stop. You know what that means. But tonight, we're going to take a different approach to Dallas week. And this rivalry, if you will. And for some of you that are new to this program, to this channel, who have just found me, welcome. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to the Louie T Network. But I need you to understand who I am as a fan. And a lot of you out there, you love the cheerleading, the rah-rah, go get 'em, fellas. You love the fiery speeches and all of that good stuff. And that's great. But that's not who I am on a week-in, week-out basis. There are specific weeks where I genuinely feel like that's not an act. I genuinely feel that way. Anything you get from me on this program or any program on any platform from the Louie T Network brand is genuine. All right? It's raw emotion, especially when it comes to the Redskins. More so than anything else, it's definitely when it comes to the Redskins and pertains to the Washington Redskins. I am a lifelong fan. Okay? Since I was 3 years old. My first memories are of the Washington Redskins. Me sitting in front of the television, drinking my little bottle, watching Redskins football. Some of my fondest memories, me running around with my little Hutch Redskins outfit, the pants, the little Mark Ripken jersey, and the Hutch helmet. My little Redskin football in my hand. That was when I was 5. Coincidentally enough, that was the last time we won a Super Bowl. There's been a lot of hard suffering for me as a Redskins fan over the last 25 years of my life. Okay? A lot of suffering, a lot of tears shed as a young youth watching the Redskins lose year after year with Heath Shuler and Michael Westbrook. Okay? A lot of suffering. Going from the Marty years of thinking we're about to be back to the Spurrier years, realizing we suck again. Through Joe Gibbs 2.0 and Jim Zorn. The highs, the lows, and everything else in between. The one constant between all of it has been the rivalry with the Dallas Cowboys. We may not be good, but we got to try to beat Dallas. Hey, we're having a hell of a season. Let's go beat Dallas. It never changes. The theme remains the same. Let's beat Dallas. Well, we'll talk about that tonight. And some of you Redskin fans who don't like the truth, because, again, if you're new to this program and you have no idea of what I stand for as a Redskins fan, or just a man in general, I'm about truth. I'm not a rah-rah guy. Not all the time. All right? I'm more about truth than anything else. Ask any other Redskin fan that's watched this program and they'll tell you firsthand. He don't lie. He don't sugarcoat. He tells it like it is. He may be wrong. He may be right. But he's going to give you his opinion. You're going to get that tonight. And tonight, I come with facts. I come bearing facts. Some opinion, but facts. Lots and lots of facts. Truth hurts. So we're going to get to some of that tonight. So if you're one of those very soft Redskin fans who love the fluff, who, despite all of the bullshit that this franchise feeds us, You never waver. And again, I'm not a fan that's fair weather, that, oh, I can't stay in the Redskins, or I'm gonna find me a new team, or all that bullshit. I don't do any of that. But I make sure that when the Skins F up, I'm there to make sure they're accountable. I pull their card. When they trying to bluff us and give us some bullshit, I pull their card every time. If you're one of those fans that looks the other way, cut the organization a break, then tonight's not the episode for you. Tonight's not the episode for you. If you're one of those flowery Redskin fans where the grass is always green and our shit always smells good, our shit stinks most of the time. But if it always smells like mint julep to you, then tonight's not the night for you. But I said all of that to say this. We won! Celebrate, goddammit. We're 3-2. After 6 weeks of football, we're atop the NFC East. If you would have asked me before the season started, after 6 weeks of football, if we would have been atop this division, I would have told you you were crazy. You were crazy. Feels good to be where we are, but we got a lot of work to do and a long way to go. And like I said, I still feel exactly the way I felt when this season began, which is the ceiling on this season is 10-6. The floor on this season is 7-9. I don't see us as a 7-9 football team unless something catastrophic happens. I'm not going to bring that up. But if we're able to stay relatively healthy, I don't see us finishing anything below 8-8. Okay? So that was always the baseline for me, was 7-9 to 10-6. That hasn't changed nor wavered. I feel the exact same way. And the only thing that has changed is that before the season started, I didn't think 10-6 would be good enough to potentially win you the division. Hell, 9-7 at this point could potentially be good enough, depending on what the other teams in the division do, could be good enough to win you this division a la 2015. Again, I'm not about what other teams in the division are doing. Obviously, it's family business, so you keep your eye on what the other teams are doing. But as I've told you numerous times on this program, if we take care of us, it's of no consequence what the other teams are doing. And that never rings more true than right now, because we're on top of the division. We take care of business from here on out, we win the division. Now, granted, we're not going to win the rest of our games, but you get where I'm going with this. We take care of what we're supposed to take care of. We'll be just fine. And it starts in week 7. The real season starts in week 7. All of the stuff that we've done to this point to get us at 3-2, all of the mental hurdles that we've had to overcome, and all of the trials and tribulations that have occurred in just the first 6 weeks of the season has prepared us for what's about to take place. Over the next 8 weeks of football, we will play 5 NFC East games, including a stretch from weeks 12 to 14 where we'll play 3 straight NFC East games. All right? We got 2 in a row. Weeks 7 and 8, this week and next week, versus the Cowboys this week, Giants next week. And then weeks 12 through 14, we've got the Cowboys, the Eagles on a Monday night. And so Cowboys Thanksgiving, Eagles the Monday night after that, and then the Giants. So in a span of 8 weeks, we've got 5 NFC East games, and that's what's going to make the difference this year. Either we're going to win the division or be a playoff team because of what we're doing inside the NFC East, or we'll be on the outside looking in because we didn't take care of business inside the division. It's about family business, and if you're not taking care of your family business, then there is no extra business for you to attend to afterwards. So we got to take care of business, and it starts week 7. But before we can talk about week 7, we must first talk about week number 6 and the Redskins taking care of business versus the Carolina Panthers. So without any further ado, let's get to the bow and go of week number 6 bow of the Carolina Panthers, and then we'll go on to week 7 and Dallas week and the Cowboys coming to FedEx. Redskins bow and go. So this was a big one to get. Week 6 at home versus Carolina. I'm going to be honest with you. I told you, I don't lie, I don't sugarcoat. I thought we were going to lose the game. I didn't think we had a chance in hell of beating Carolina. Even though I watched them struggle with the Giants the week before, that was of no consequence to me. That didn't make one bit of difference to me. that was inconsequential. I thought we were still going to lose. And it had nothing, and I mean nothing, let me repeat, nothing to do with how we performed on Monday night versus New Orleans. It had zero to do with that. That had no impact on my decision making when coming to this kids. Just like when we lost and looked horrible against Indianapolis, that had no bearing on how I felt the following week when I told you we were going to beat Green Bay. All right? In my mind, I have certain games that I think we are capable of winning. And again, if the team is playing a certain brand of football and they establish a certain identity, then yeah, maybe some of the things that they do might sway my decision making before I go into making my decision of whether we're going to win or lose. But going into the season, I look at specific games on the schedule. There's certain ones where I'm indifferent. Like, it just depends on how we're playing at that time. But then there are other games where we've got a history with this team and they play us a certain way. We don't respond well to the way they play us, and hence I already had a formulated conclusion for how the game was going to go. That's why I thought we could beat Green Bay. We match up well with the Green Bay Packers. We just do. So I felt like we had a shot. Now, if Aaron Rodgers was 100% healthy and their guys weren't dropping the football, maybe we don't get that win. But that's not our problem. We took care of business. In this game right here, Cam Newton presents a problem for us. And I don't understand for the life of me why the Panthers stopped running the football in this game. For some reason, and I don't know, maybe the impact of what New Orleans did to us through the air and the confusion that we had in the secondary and have had all season long appealed to them, and they thought, well, maybe we could air it out against this Redskins football team. Maybe we can have success throwing it. Well, the Panthers came into the game as the #1 rush offense in the league. I don't understand why they would deviate from that, because we've been giving it up on the ground. In case you haven't noticed, and early on in this game, on the very first possession, they came out. Christian McCaffrey had a carry for 9 and another carry for 8. He had 20 yards rushing in the game on 8 carries. His first 2 carries of the game went for 17 yards. So granted that the next 6 carries only netted him 3 yards total, you don't stop running the football. And Cam Newton has killed us over the years with his legs. They didn't run it enough to me in this game. Now, he had a few carries, and the Redskins did a really good job, especially Zach Brown, of bottling up Cam Newton and not allowing him to get loose and hurt us in the read option game. I thought we actually played read option well. Kerrigan took away the running back for the most part, and Zach Brown did a pretty good job of keying in on Cam Newton and making sure that even if he got a gain, it was a minimal gain. And so I was pretty pleased with the way we played read option, but still, if I'm the Panthers, and again, this goes to Norv Turner. You know, Norv, most of these offensive guys want to throw it. They want to throw it. Their ego wants to be stroked, and they want to throw it. And sometimes the best way to win goes out the window because they want to stroke their own ego. We see it with Jay Gruden sometimes, where for some strange reason, he decides that this isn't the week to run it. We're going to throw it, despite everything pointing towards, hey, if we can't run it, we can't be successful. In our 3 wins, we've run it well. In our 2 losses, we haven't. It's not a coincidence. But I don't understand why they stopped running it, but they did, and it benefited us. Now, Cam Newton had a solid day. It wasn't great. He had a turnover. We were able to force a fumble on a sack. We didn't recover it, but it was good to get to him. And even though we didn't sack him, and this is a common theme with the Redskins, we don't get a ton of sacks, but we do create pressure sometimes. And sometimes that pressure is good enough to make a quarterback be uncomfortable, i.e. the final play of the game offensively for the Panthers on a 4th down when they had to have it. The pocket was collapsing, and there was nowhere for Cam Newton to go. And hence, he had to get rid of the football, and you get an incomplete and errant pass. Voila. On the pick that he threw, pressure. Kerrigan forces him to step up. As he tries to look for an exit strategy, here comes Daron Payne. So he says, all right, I'll unload the football, try to get it up the field to Devin Funchess. And Daron Payne hits his arm as he's trying to follow through. Ball sputters into the air, picked off by Jano. Pressure. Again, doesn't always amount to sacks, but sometimes you can affect the game by just creating a little bit of pressure. Now, I feel like we don't blitz enough. I feel like we don't win enough individual one-on-one battles. There were too many times where the Redskins rushed for and didn't get anywhere near Cam Newton, and he had all day to throw the football. We still are having some issues with communications on rub routes when guys are running natural picks. We just seem to not combo that off well. That's how you get the touchdown to Torrey Smith in the end zone. And the two-point conversion was even more egregious because they essentially ran the same play again. They didn't have the pick motion going with the two receivers crossing each other, but Torrey Smith essentially ran the same shallow cross and nobody went with him. So we still got some issues in the secondary. But when it's all said and done, I thought we did a much better job of forcing the Panthers into some situations where they needed long yardage. I hate the fact that we had them in some situations where they needed long yardage and had stupid penalties that gave them opportunities to shorten the distance that they needed to convert. I hate the fact that we had some big plays in the game that were negated by penalties. A nice Adrian Peterson run, a nice Josh Doxson catch and run, both negated by penalties. We can't have those types of mistakes. I hate the fact that the special teams was outstanding. I said that on the Redskins Rapid React. But I hate the fact that Tressway booms a beautiful punt. It's downed inside the 5-yard line. We get the stop after the punt is down on a 3-and-out. Beautiful series of events there by the Redskins and a nice series put together by the defense to not allow the Panthers to pick up a first down and get out of the shadow of their own end zone. I love the fact that we forced the punt and then Greg Stroman proceeds to catch the punt, take it 10 yards up the field to the Panthers' 33-yard line right before halftime, up 17-3, or I think it was 17-6 at that point, with a chance to really hurt the Panthers and put a dagger in their heart. With about a good minute and 42 seconds left, all 3 timeouts, ball at the 33-yard line of the Panthers, you're in great position to, at worst, come away with a field goal. If you don't gain another yard, you're already in field goal range for D-Hop. Instead, somehow, we managed to go backwards. Intentional grounding and some poor pass plays, and all of a sudden, you're out of field goal range and you're punting again. That can't happen. That can't happen, and it was almost as if that was a precursor of what was to come in the second half, because we were only able to muster 2 field goals in the second half. Luckily enough, it was enough because the defense made it enough. In past years, it would not have been enough. And hell, in past weeks, it wouldn't have been enough. But we were able to force the Panthers to have to settle for field goals in this game, or at least one when it counted. And we were able to make sure that that 6-point lead late in the game stood up. And we haven't been able to say that very often. We haven't been able to say that 6 points is enough late in the game because, as we've seen in certain situations, that hasn't been enough for our defense to preserve a victory. But we got it done. It felt good to knock Cam Newton off. It felt good to see him bitching and moaning at the end of the game, as only Cam Newton can do. It was great to see us finally give him a loss, give Ron Rivera a loss. It was good to see Cam Newton, who was 4-0 with 9 touchdowns over no interceptions, get an interception to his name against the Redskins, get a loss to his name. It was good to see Josh Norman force a fumble, pick a pass off, get his swag back. It was good to see Adrian Peterson do what he did to help us win this football game. It was good to see them get Jordan Reed a little bit more involved, even though I still think he needs to be more involved in this offense. It was good to see them target Josh Doxson a little bit more in this game. I think he still needs more opportunities. It was just good to see Paul Richardson and all these other receivers get opportunities to touch the football. All the complaints about the receiver position, our receivers aren't terrible. They're just not getting enough opportunities. Whose fault is that? Some of it the offensive line, some of it Alex Smith, some of it Jay Gruden. The blame, there's enough of it to go around. But it was a total team effort winning this game 23-17. It wasn't the cleanest performance, but as I said before, it was a gritty performance. And when you get the dub, it's a pretty performance. It wasn't the prettiest, but it was the grittiest, and it was a dub. We'll take it any way we can get it. We now move on to week number 7 in Dallas week. So the bow has been put on week 6 in the victory versus Carolina to get us to 3-2 and keep us atop the NFC East. Now let's go to the week 7 showdown for first place in the NFC East with the Dallas Cowboys. So this is going to be a little bit different than what you're accustomed to. Normally the bow and go is a quick little synopsis on what I think the Redskins need to do for the Redskins to get a win. But this is Dallas week, and I want to put some things in perspective to this rivalry that we always talk about with the Cowboys. Hasn't been much of a rivalry of late. And as most of you know, if you don't know, my dad is a Cowboys fan. My sister is a Cowboys fan. My mom is a Cowboys fan. I grew up amongst Cowboys fans. I somehow rose through the concrete, if you will. And I was able to remain steadfast and strong in my Redskin fandom, despite having a lot of negativity around me. But there's not much I can say to any one of them when your team doesn't perform against their chief rival. When you can't seem to beat that team and they can hold that over your head, neither one of us have been winning anything of note. Neither one of us have gotten to the playoffs and went deep into the playoffs and made a deep run. So there's nothing that we can hang over the other's head. We're both still living in the 90s, living in the 80s, living in the past. None of us have anything to show of note of late. But the one thing the Cowboys fans can always say to us, hey, shut up, we beat y'all last time. Seems like they can say that all the time. Shut up, we own y'all. Or as my dad always says, we got two houses, yours and ours. We beat y'all there, we beat y'all here. Don't matter where we go, we beat y'all. And as much as I want to say, I can't say shit. So let's take a look at this rivalry, shall we? Because a rivalry is when two teams are pitted against one another. They don't like each other. As a matter of fact, how about we get the technical term for a rivalry? All right, let's pull up. I'm gonna pull up my dictionary right now, and we're gonna get the technical term for the word rivalry. So let's see what it says. Rivalry. It says a state or situation in which people or groups are competing with each other. Now, that's a nice, vague definition, but normally we consider rivalries between two teams that are closely matched and evenly matched, that have a 50-50 chance of beating one another. That team may win this time, the other team may win next time, or this team may win 2 in a row, then the next team comes back, wins 2 out of the next 3. That's what a rivalry is about. Not you getting your brains bashed in 4 times in a row, winning 1 and then losing the next 3 again. That's not a rivalry. That's what it feels like it's been with us and the Cowboys of late. So I want to take a look at some things right quick, and this rivalry, if you will. So this is the Redskins' rivalry with the Cowboys over the years. All-time meetings with the Cowboys, 116 of them all time. The series record looks as follows: 70 wins for the Cowboys, 44 for the good guys, 2 ties overall. This is the one that we love to lay claim to. I'm not going to lie. I hold on and clutch this as if it is my final breath. Playoff head-to-head. Redskins 2, Cowboys 0. Feels good to be able to say that. But those wins came in the 70s and 80s, okay? We haven't beaten the Cowboys in the playoffs in ages. Haven't played the Cowboys. Both teams haven't been good enough for both of them to be in the playoffs at the same time playing meaningful games in forever. So neither team can lay claim to much playoff success over the last 2 decades. But the last time these two teams went against each other, Redskins won, and the time before that, the Redskins won. But it's not often the Redskins can lay claim to any kind of dominance in this series, as you'll see as we move forward. So we go to the next slide, and Cowboys-Redskins rivalry head-to-head through the decades. So in the 1960s, Cowboys won 10 out of 19 matchups. Redskins won 7, and they tied 2 of them. You go to the 70s, and the 70s were pretty much dominated by the Cowboys in terms of them winning and being a Super Bowl participant. And yet the Redskins still found the way to stay close with them in the season series. They didn't win it. Cowboys won 12 out of 21 matchups. Redskins won 9, but the Redskins kept it competitive. That's what a rivalry is. It stays competitive, no matter how good the other team is. You move on to the 80s. That was our shit. Okay, that was Redskins at their best. In the 80s, the Cowboys, early 80s were still good. As we got to the mid-portion and latter stages of the 80s, they stunk, and yet they still won the season series in the 80s, the decade series, rather, winning 11 out of 20 contests. Redskins right there with 9, but we should have won it because we were better than them in the 80s. But that's what a rivalry is. Two teams closely matched, and that's as close as it's ever been in the 80s. Redskins coming within 2 games of tying the Cowboys, and so, or 1 game within tying the Cowboys in the season or the decade series, and 2 games from taking the lead there. You go to the 90s, that was the Cowboys shit. And for the vast majority of the 90s, we stunk. Early 90s, we were competitive. From about 93 to about 98, the Redskins were trash. And then there was the resurgence at the end of the 90s. You could argue 96, we had a little bit of a great start to the season. 99, we won the division. So there were a couple of years in there, but we still, the Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls in the 90s, and we still kept it respectable. They won 12 times, we won 8. So we were still right there. Even when we stunk, Heath Schuler on a Monday night took the Redskins as a 21-point underdog to Texas Stadium in 1995 and beat the eventual Super Bowl champion, or I think that was the year the 49ers won the Super Bowl, but it doesn't matter. Beat the Dallas Cowboys, who were heavily favored to destroy our lifeless Redskins. We still went to Big D and won. All right? That's what a rivalry is all about. Remember when the Redskins had a chance to go undefeated in that 91 season? The first loss that they encountered, and the Cowboys only had 1 win in that season. Know who it was against? Yeah, you guessed it. The Washington Redskins. So that's what a rivalry is all about. So then you go to the 2000s, and this is when the shit starts to get a little skewed in one direction, and this is when I start to get pissed off. You go to the 2000s, and this is when you start getting the Vinny Serrato effect, the Dan Snyder effect, and this is when shit starts going sideways, and all of a sudden, what was once a real, true rivalry starts to become one-sided, and this is when you start getting my dad and Cowboy fans alike to start saying, hey man, get out my face, this ain't even a rivalry no more. We don't even respect you like that. 14 wins in the 2000s for the Cowboys, just a mere 6 for the Redskins. Got our asses handed to us in the 2000s. Now you move to the 2010s, and it's not much better right now. And this is where I draw the line in the sand. You want this to be a real rivalry? You want this Cowboys-Redskins rivalry to be rekindled? You want us to start to have that same luster that yesteryear carried when Cowboys-Redskins was mentioned? You got to change what you're looking at on the screen right now. They've beat us 11 times in the 2010s. We've got 5 wins. We've got time to change it and make it respectable before it's too late. It starts on Sunday. You lose on Sunday, and let's go to the next graphic. Longest win streaks in the series. Cowboys have beaten us at one point 10 straight times, and that was when my dad first adopted the 2 homes theory. Your house is our house is our house. That's when he came up with the 2 home theory. I own you at your house, I own you at our house, I own you, period, wherever you go. We got 2 houses. We got a vacation home in D.C., and we live permanently in Dallas. They beat us 10 straight times over a 5-year period from 97 to 2002. And they weren't even good then. You go to the Redskins, we only beat them 4 times straight. That's the longest win streak we've ever. And that was back in the 80s, man. I was a young pup. I was a young little tyke. I didn't even know what the hell was going on out there. 4 times is the best we could do. They beat us 10 straight times. The best we could do is 4. Hell, they've equaled our longest streak now. Their current streak against us, 4 games. They swept us in 16. They swept us last year. And if you let them do it again, they'll sweep us again in 2018 and make it 6 straight. We've got to show some pride. We've got to stand up. And we've got to make this thing a rivalry again. So we come back to the goal. And look, I told my dad, there's no way you're sweeping us this year. And to be honest with you, I can't tell you the last time the Redskins actually swept the Cowboys. I don't know. Because even in 2015, when we were the far superior team, we still only beat them once. Remember, they came to our building on a Monday night, Deshaun Jackson with that hideous punt return where he runs backwards, gets hit, fumbles the ball, and we lose to Matt Cassell and the Dallas Cowboys. Remember that? We were the better team. We won the division that year. Kirk takes the Redskins down to Dallas in Week 17 in a meaningless game, smokes them early, and lets Colt McCoy finish up the table scraps. Finishes up the dishes on those boys. Say, hey, look, man, we've already cooked dinner. We've already eaten. We left all the dishes there. You go ahead and allow the Cowboys to do the dishes and wipe the table off when you're done. We let Colt McCoy and company finish that off. But we still didn't sweep them in that season. I can't tell you the last time we swept the Cowboys. I know it's been a while. But they seem to do it to us routinely. It's time for that shit to stop. And to be honest with you, I don't think we're beating them on Thanksgiving. I just don't. I don't like that spot for us. The one time we beat them in the last 8 years was the Robert Griffin III 2012 game on Thanksgiving, and that was so much fun. It really was. But I don't see that happening again. I don't. So translation, what I'm trying to say to you is if we're going to get them, this is the time to get them. At home, FedEx. This is the time to get them. And if we don't get them here, they're going to sweep us again, I think. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of the Dallas Cowboys sticking it to us. That's why the hashtag is renew the rivalry. Because it's not a rivalry right now. It's a one-sided ass thrashing. The Cowboys own us right now. That shit pains me to even say, to even fix my goddamn lips to say the shit. But the facts are what they are. The truth shall set you free. And the minute that we acknowledge that they've been busting our shit for the last decade plus and start to realize that we need to turn the tide and reverse this shit into our favor and make this a real rivalry again, the minute we realize that, the better off we'll be and the more competitive we'll be in this series. And I think it starts on Sunday. I really do. And for the first time in about a decade and a half, the Redskins, I think almost 2 full decades, the Redskins will be playing the Dallas Cowboys at 4:25 on CBS. This game has been telecast on Fox since Fox took over the NFC package in 1994. The last time these two teams met on CBS, 1993. So, with that being said, they're starting a new day and age in the NFL now, allowing these teams to NFC games to be telecast on AFC networks. So they're swapping them through, and you're allowed to telecast the AFC game on Fox and the NFC game on CBS. They're changing the tide. They're changing the way things are done. Time for us to turn over a new leaf and start changing shit along with it. Tony Romo will be doing the game. You know deep down inside he wants to see the Cowboys kick our ass. But he's going to remain neutral because that's his job. Let's go out and get it done, man. If you're looking for keys to the game, you already know. I don't have to tell you what the keys to the game are. We're 3-0 when we run the football, when we take care of the football, and we force turnovers. Shit is not rocket science. We start fast, and then we hold on for dear life. You'd like to see that shit change. Love to put 4 quarters of football together. I don't know when that will happen, but I'll continue to go with the theme of a strong first half and holding on for dear life as long as it turns into a win. But that's the book is out on the Redskins. If you can stop them from running the football, if you can get to Alex Smith by pressuring them, and the Cowboys can get to Alex Smith, that's the thing that worries me the most in this game is if they do what New Orleans did to Alex Smith, which is pressure him, and the thing about the Cowboys is they're so talented up front, if we don't block better, if we don't handle twists and stunts better, if we don't handle these games that teams have been throwing at us early in the season, if we don't handle those better, they don't have to blitz to get pressure on Alex Smith. They can just rush 4 and win. If that's the case, we're in trouble on Sunday. we're in trouble. If we can't establish the run, if we can't protect up front, if Alex Smith feels just the slightest bit of nervousness in the pocket and he gets happy feet like he did 2 weeks ago and at times had against Carolina, we don't stand a chance to win this game. And another thing, there's a trend now with this Redskins team. It's a bad one that you don't want to set as a precedent, but we've said it. We're not a come-from-behind team. When we start fast, we're a great front runner. We're one of the best in the league. Jay Gruden's record as a front runner is phenomenal. But when he gets down in games, when this team falls behind, we are not good. And generally, it gets ugly before it gets any better. We don't respond well to being punched in the mouth. We love being a bully, but when somebody stands up to our ass, we cower out just about every time. We bitch up. At some point, that shit has to change. I don't know when it will, but how about we not find out this week? How about we just jump on top of these boys? How about we protect Alex Smith enough for him to feel comfortable to go through his reads and get the football to where it needs to go? How about we open up enough rush lanes to stay balanced with Adrian in this game? And how about we take care of the football? Alex has been a little loose with it the last couple of weeks. Had another fumble this week versus Carolina. Had a couple of fumbles versus New Orleans. Had some bad interceptions versus New Orleans. Let's clean that up. Let's take care of the football. And let's generate turnovers. Dak is pretty stingy when it comes to turnovers. Doesn't mean he doesn't like to share. We just have to show him that it's a nice thing to share. Sharing is caring. But the blueprint is already there. We already know what we got to do. Run the football, remain balanced, protect Alex Smith, don't turn the football over, create turnovers, don't beat ourselves. Make your field goals, score touchdowns in the red zone, don't give up touchdowns in the red zone. Winning recipe. Simple. There's not much to preach here. I'll give you a couple of matchups to focus in on, though. One, we have to stop Ezekiel Elliott. If he's allowed to have 115 or 30 or 45 yards rushing, we're going to lose. Because that's going to allow Dak Prescott to just coast. We want Dak Prescott to have to beat us because I don't believe he can. He stinks. I'm not moved by the 40 points they put up on Jacksonville. Not at all. You know why I'm not moved? Because if the Redskins are smart, they'll watch the tape. Cole Beasley ran the same damn whip route 87 times and got open. You in and out him. Help to the inside, outside leverage. Take that shit away. Make him go elsewhere. Make him trust one of the other bums that they have at receiver. Make him trust Michael Gallup. Make him trust Allen Hurns. Make him trust Tavon Austin. Make him trust anybody but Cole Beasley. If we lose to Cole Beasley, if we lose to Ezekiel Elliott, I'm going to throw up all over my damn self. That's the only way they beat us on offense. Those two guys. They beat us some other way, I'm going to tip my damn cap to them and say, hey, touche, you got us. But if they beat us with Cole Beasley, if they beat us with Ezekiel Elliott, or if they beat us with Dak Prescott using his goddamn legs, I'm going to be one pissed off Redskin fan. Because that's the only way they can get us on offense. And I love the fact that we played Carolina last week because that gives us great preparation for the read option and all of the things that Cam Newton brought to the table, all the challenges that he brings with his legs. Same thing that Dak Prescott presents. We should be prepared for that. We have a little bit more team speed defensively. He shouldn't be able to out-leverage us and beat guys to the outside like he's been able to do over the last couple of years. We're getting faster and faster on defense every single year. Still not quite where we need to be, but we're faster than we were in the past. So I like this matchup for us. And again, if we don't get this one, there is no rivalry. That's 5 straight. Going to Dallas on Thanksgiving. Don't like the odds of us going to get that one. Now is the time to snap their streak and start one of our own. It's time to renew the rivalry, which takes us to the final outcome. It's the final outcome. Whoa, yeah. So, like I said, the hashtag this week is renew the rivalry. That's what it's about for me. Right now, it's not a rivalry. It's one-sided. The Cowboys own us. We're their bitches right now. It's time to end that shit, man. I told my dad before the season even started, I didn't know when we were playing them or where. I said, this shit stops this year, man. And you know what he just did? He just looked at me. He didn't say a word. He just laughed. You know how much that shit ate me up inside? You know, that's what trolls love when you feed them. When you give them ammunition. That's why they tell you, don't feed the trolls. They want that attention. They thrive off of it. They want to get under your skin. You know what hurts more than feeding them? Silence. That shit is golden, man. You wanna piss your significant other off? Give them the silent treatment. That shit will eat them up way more than you arguing back and forth with them. Don't say shit to them. It will eat their ass alive. That shit stings. And his silence in that moment said everything that he wanted to say but didn't need to. The 4 straight wins over the last 2 seasons said it all. And his laugh and his grin and his look at me like, it was so narcissistic, yet brilliant. Because his Cowboys afforded him the ability to just look at me and not respond with words, but just a simple chuckle like, yeah, right, man. Get the hell out of my face. That shit ends this week. If it doesn't, then when will it? The Cowboys last year when we played them up in Big D on a Thursday night, remember they couldn't score? Ezekiel Elliott was out with a suspension. Remember they were struggling? They were averaging 9 points a game when we ran into them on that Thursday night. And then J.C. Ice decides to fumble twice in the first 10 minutes of the game. They run off 30 points on us. A team that couldn't score 10 for the last 4 weeks straight scores 30 points, erupts for 38 on us on a Thursday night. Where's the psychological sense in that you need to wash your face? Even when they stunk, we couldn't take advantage. That shit infuriates me. If we can't win on Sunday, I don't know when we'll beat the Cowboys. I don't know when this will become a rivalry again. It's time to renew the rivalry, man. Seriously. This shit is getting old fast. I'm a Duke Blue Devils college basketball fan. You know the thing that Maryland fans used to hate was when we would tell them that it wasn't a rivalry. Yeah, it was a rivalry. Even Duke fans acknowledge that, but we knew it got under their skin. It mattered to them more than it mattered to us. North Carolina's more of our rivalry than that of Maryland when they were in the ACC. But Maryland, to us, to them, we were their rivalry. That's how it's starting to feel in the division now. It's starting to feel like the Cowboys view the Giants or even the Eagles as more of a threat to them than us. We're kind of being put on the back burner. I don't like that shit. I don't like it one bit. Our rivalry, it's on top of every other rivalry in the division. Hell, you could argue it's on top of every other rivalry in football, but it hasn't been that way of late. Our shit is supposed to reign supreme. Our family business is supposed to stand taller and matter more than any other family business in the league. But when you get your ass whooped on a consistent basis by the same team, where's the rivalry? Where's the fun in that? I've said all I needed to say. It's Dallas week. Here's how I feel about Dallas week, right here. Low scoring affair, at home, both teams struggling to score. We start fast, and we hold on for dear life. That's our blueprint. That's our MO. They need a touchdown late, and just like we did against Carolina this week, we stopped them from getting in the end zone late in the game to preserve a 20-16 victory. If the Cowboys score, I'm going to tell you right now, straight up, the Cowboys score more than 20 points in this game, we lose. Their defense is too good. They're too good on defense. If they score 23, we lose this game. We're not scoring more than 20. If we score more than 20, we should win. I don't see us scoring more than 20 points on this vaunted Cow. This defense is for real in Dallas. The reason they're not going to be a playoff team this year is because of the offense. But if the offense wakes up, they're a playoff team. The defense is that good. Their defense better than our defense, just so you know. So if we're going to win this game, they can't score more than 20. Because that's our limit in this game. I'm putting a cap on what we do with 20 points. We score more than 20, I'll be surprised, I'll be ecstatic, and I expect a victory. We score less than 20, we should be fighting for our lives to win this football game. Either way, I fully expect a Redskins win. And I don't give a shit how we get it. I don't care if it comes off a bad call. I don't care if it comes off of OPI. I don't give a shit how we get it. I just want it. So go get it. So I said all I needed to say. I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Washington Redskins. It's a big one, folks. It's for first place in the division. Need I say more? The winner of this game will be in first place and sole possession of it. Because even if the Cowboys end up tied with the Philadelphia Eagles, if the Eagles win in week number 7 and the Cowboys win, and they're both 4-3, the Cowboys will then have 2 wins in the division to the Eagles 1. Shit is getting real. Right around week 7, shit's getting real. We asked for meaningful football come October into November. Here it is. Here it is. This is what you live for. Meaningful football games. So big, huge early season, mid-season. Let's call it mid-season now. We're in the second quarter of the season. It's a big mid-season game right here in the division. Family business of the utmost importance. Fellas, get this shit done. What happens at FedEx stays in FedEx. I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. I'll see you guys, win, lose, or draw, on Sunday. And I've got a film breakdown coming for you guys, so keep your eyes peeled for that as well. But until then, see you guys. Have a good one.